Backstage, our guests did the same trivia that you all did. Let's find out how they did. Question 1, French physicist Etienne Klein released this image of what type of object, adding incorrectly that it was the most detailed image of the object ever captured. That object was a sausage.
Were we not supposed to try an answer?
It was a chorizo sausage. Is that? I'm seeing somebody like frantically waving at me
Noah,
because I said what?
Were we not supposed
knew
to
that.
answer?
Yes. So, what was it?
Let the record show we wrote that down.
We did.
Before we heard it.
We had sausage, and then worried you weren't going to take it, we wrote in brackets chorizo.
Yeah.
This is not a German-style sausage.
No. So basically what happened here is that Dr. Klein sent out a tweet that this image was of a star, specifically the star Proxima Centauri, which is located a mere 4.5 light years away. However, he followed up to clarify that his post, which was liked tens and tens of thousands of times, was actually a hoax, and that in fact the image was of a chorizo sausage, adding, quote, "According to contemporary cosmology, no object belonging to Spanish charcuterie exists anywhere but on Earth."
As far as we know.
As far as we know. I did actually look up, there are many, many more detailed pictures of sausages than this. People have used scanning electron microscopes. I didn't have time to put them in there, but you can look them up. There's a lot of food safety papers where you can see really,
Be careful with that Google search.
Yeah.
Incognito.
I want to see the inside of a sausage.
R.I.P. to your search histories.
Yeah. Question 2, this time I'll give them time.
Thank you.
True or false? Apollo 12 astronaut Pete Conrad fumbled his NASA-prescribed first words on the lunar surface as follows. Quote, "One step further for, step into the future for mankind, humankind." Well, so is that true or false?
That's a great line read from the start.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it again?
I want the hot well again, because I thought that was really good.
Well.
Yeah,
Or in the immortal words of John Young, shit.
I don't think Pete Conrad is a real astronaut person.
Yeah, we think it's false because Pete Conrad doesn't exist.
That's an interesting, because you did get the question right. It is false, but Pete Conrad very much is an astronaut.
Oh.
That is not the false thing about it.
I
Sorry,
also think
Pete,
Apollo
if you're
12
listening.
is a dumb number and should be an odd number. Yeah,
The
that's what I
false
thought.
thing is that's not what he said. What he said was, whoopee, man, that may have been a small one for Neil, but that's a long one for me. This is what happened.
Yeah, and you wonder why he was the second first person on
exactly. So basically, this reporter bet Pete Conrad $500 in an interview that NASA wouldn't let him say whatever he wanted to say for his first words on the surface because she didn't believe that Neil Armstrong came up with that phrase and thought that NASA had workshopped it and told him to say it. So what he did to prove her wrong was that he decided to make his first words, "Whoopee, man, that may have been one small one for Neil, but that's a long one for me," partially making fun of the fact that Neil Armstrong was a lot taller than Pete Conrad. And it was also extra funny because there was apparently some sort of missing rung or something on the ladder, so he did fall really far.
But it's on the moon where the gravity isn't as strong, so he didn't
Right.
fall as hard.
If you want to have a blessed search history, look up astronauts falling on the moon. So many astronauts fall on the moon. They're out there for 20 hours a day picking up rocks and shit. They are always on their ass. It is amazing. So this is just the last one on this one. Pete Conrad's wife, Nancy, wrote, quote, "Pity the twit who would try to script a bunch of test pilots with fighter jocks, egos fully intact, riding a rocket to the moon." That was almost blank verse.
That's great.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they should have, basically.
Hell yeah.
Question 3. A Norse settlement in North America was able to be dated to 1021 CE due to a spike in atmospheric carbon-14 caused by what type of celestial event that happened in 993 CE?
I actually know a lot about this because it's in one of my podcast episodes I'm going to plug in
amazing.
a second. But these things are called Miyake events.
Okay.
And I thought these were still kind of debated about what caused it. So I want to hear what you're going to say and then say that's not it.
Now, okay, I will tell you the Nature paper that I got this from, and it may very well be that since it came out and I saw the headline about it in the astronomical literature, it has been contradicted, and we can definitely hear you out.
Nature's usually wrong.
Yeah.
They have more recalls than other journals.
Yeah.
I would have accepted any form of solar storm, solar flare, coronal mass ejection, any of the words that mean that, or something similar to that, because we don't know exactly what it was, but there is a thought that basically there was a spike in carbon-14 content created by the interaction with some sort of solar storm with the atmosphere of the Earth. And what you can do is in tree rings from this archaeological site in, I think it's Nova Scotia or Newfoundland or something, I think in Newfoundland, there was a really wide range of when they thought it was going to be. It was still like 500 years before Columbus, but they were trying to narrow down when exactly these people were here. And basically what they were to do is not even one of the logs that was in the building, but basically like trash wood that they just got out of some sort of like midden. And what they can do is do like mass spectroscopy.
Mass spectrometry.
Fuck.
Just say mass spec.
Mass spec. Yeah. Every single time I say that word, I mess it up and say the opposite one. Sorry. They can do that on the different rings, right? As they're growing, right? We all know this. We've seen like rings of a tree. You know, they'll have another one for every year, and they can sample basically the amount and measure the amount of carbon-14 that's in each of those rings, and look for this characteristic spike that has been found at other sites around the world. And so, just another thing that was mentioned is that there were historical records of unusual aurora in late 1992 and early 1993 at places as far apart as Korea, Germany, and Ireland, which all describe a blood red sky with a fiery hue that, quote, looked like heaven's gate was opening. So
it's like last June.
Yeah, so this is, yeah, exactly. So basically what they did was use dendrochronology, which is using the tree rings and trying to measure the things and make that connection to something happening in space. Now, Mark, why is that wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. If
Okay.
you want to hear a 15-minute of that version of that, we have it in a podcast, and we talked to a scientist who has studied this and has modeled it. But one of the, we think it's solar flares, but the thing is, if one of those things, we're kind of due for one. They happen, there's been like 6 or 7 in the last 10,000 years, and none since this date. And so if one of those things were to happen now, all of our satellites are gone, instantly. So if you want to hear more about how terrifying that is, there'll be a podcast about it soon.
Nice. Aren't there like way too many satellites right now? Is that a problem? Okay, so
That's
we're
also
due for a
nice.
clear out.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to get rid of the junk. The junk is the problem. There's just like a
so
lot
they're
of
just
hardware.
I see. They'll just like flicker and die and not just all plummet toward the Earth.
Some
Because
will.
that would be better.
What if they all melt together?
Yeah, into
That'd
a
be
super
cool.
satellite.
Super
Just give us a second moon.
Question 4. Which one, singular one, of the following science news headlines about Uranus did I make up? A. Uranus will be on display for the entire world later this month. B. Scientists just recreated the horrendous substance found deep within Uranus. C. Uranus gapes wide open for blasts of hot wind, scientists claim. That's my favorite part. Comma, scientists claim. Don't laugh, this is D, don't laugh, but we just found something mysterious near Uranus. Or E, how methane plumes and diamond rain are complicating NASA's plan to probe Uranus.
That's real.
You think that
Which
one's
one?
real?
That last one is real.
I just
Okay.
suddenly thought it's not, but let's go with it.
Well, you actually have to decide together. So
Yes.
what do
That
you think
last
it's-
one is real.
You okay?
I'm okay with that being real.
Yeah.
I could live in a world with
so
methane
is there
plumes.
disagreement on your team about whether or not it's real?
Yes.
Okay.
But you,
How about
you thought this one was the
Okay,
fake
which one? Well, now I think they're all real, and he's fucking with us.
I don't think Noah's that much of a trickster.
I would never do something like that.
Yeah.
Again.
My vote is
Yeah.
that D is the one Noah made.
Okay.
All
is
right,
that-
we're going with that.
Okay.
Yep.
E was the one that I made up.
I can leave now. We're almost at the end anyway.
I should have stuck with it. Darn it. Oh, well.
All but E are real headlines from the science journalist Rob Waugh, who clearly loves his job so much and/or doesn't care if he gets fired. And don't worry, there are so many more. For example, another real headline: "There's something very hard heading toward Uranus, scientists believe." Something huge and hard went into Uranus, and it got very messy. Uranus stinks like egg.
I didn't catch that last bit.
Unintelligible.
That one's snuck up on me. Uranus stinks like eggy.
Sorry, I still didn't quite get it.
Okay. Nobody laugh, all right?
It's not what you're
Uranus,
here
shut up. Uranus stinks like eggy farts, scientists finally admit.
Our secret's out.
Question 5. Which play by Shakespeare set in Denmark is thought to mention a supernova now named after a Danish astronomer in the very first scene? In fact, Act 1, Scene 1.
I had an inclination here that this was Hamlet because he's Danish.
And we didn't have any better ideas.
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's something in my brain about the beginning of The Lion King and A Sign and Hamlet.
Yeah.
And then I said all that, and they were still like, cheer up.
Yeah. I just went Simba.
So answer is?
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Okay, the answer is, in fact, Hamlet.
Yeah.
I spelled it
When yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns. From references to the position of the star and to the climate and time of year, 3 researchers from Southwest Texas State University, 2 from the physics department, and 1 from the English department, really emulating Moya's academic career.
Cross-disciplinary. That's
But
great.
Moya did it in 1 person. This took 3. Identified the position of the star would have been in the vicinity of the constellation Cassiopeia. Not Cassiopeia. That would be too fancy.
It's the same.
Okay, Cassiopeia. Okay. However, there aren't, according to the article I read, I'm not so familiar with Cassiopeia that I can throw shade on it, so to speak. But they said that there aren't any especially interesting or bright stars in that
That's
constellation.
so rude.
Yeah, right?
It's the only one that looks like a nice letter that you can spell.
Nice W.
Yeah.
Or M.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perspective is
True.
important.
Northern or southern hemisphere, or can you only see it from one?
I don't
More
think it's
north.
around the ecliptic, so I
Okay.
think probably higher
right.
up.
Well, one of the letters. Or a 3, or a sigma. That's enough. It's
supposed to be a crown.
Exactly. Where it's being described is in that constellation. They know Elsinore Castle, where it's set, is a real place in Denmark. They knew, the description. It was west of the pole, which is the North Star. There were a lot of other references to time of year and different sort of descriptions of the sky at that time. So they could figure out it's probably this one. And the thing is, even though they weren't able to identify any particularly bright, noteworthy stars now, there used to be, for a brief period of time, a brilliant star that appeared in 1572 seemingly out of nowhere to these people who would have been very shocked by that, and remained for about 16 months, and gives this idea that the cosmos are not in fact like the same, and that there was this massive new star in the sky, and that caused a lot of unease, which is sort of what leads into a lot of these themes that are present in Hamlet. And something really interesting was that it was one of the people to study it most thoroughly was Danish astronomer Tycho Brahe, and he basically, so they call it Tycho's supernova now, and there's evidence basically that his work in particular influenced Hamlet. For example, and there's lots, but I'm going to cut this down. For example, the most famous portrait of Brahe at the time included the family names of his ancestors, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, which if you've ever read or seen Hamlet performed, are very, very, nearly identical to 2 important characters, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And in addition, Brahe's observatory was on an island just off the coast of where Elsinore Castle is. Another person who influenced Shakespeare's astronomical inclusions in his plays was the English astronomer John Dee, who wrote extensively about that supernova. But because I want to include it because I have a John Dee fact that I just desperately love, and that it's in his private diary he wrote that his son Arthur received a head wound by, quote, his own wanton throwing of a brick, and not well avoiding the fall of it again. The brick weighed 2.5 pounds. Arthur went on to become physician to kings. Question 6. Shortly after the discovery of Saturn's rings, a Vatican librarian wrote that they were actually what part of Jesus' body ascended to heaven.
I know that Galileo described them as ears in his early journals, but
Okay.
that's not the Vatican.
No, and Rob has a...
I've done a lot of fax machine-y stuff where you read weird things, and in a previous episode, we had talked about parts of Jesus that couldn't be accounted for, and so there's this, and if the Pope, if you're listening, I know you're not supposed to talk about this. Sorry again.
Pope is an avid listener.
I know.
Yeah, friend of the pod.
You have one
That's
listener
why
in Vatican City.
I know he's sending an
Yeah,
email.
our next live show, Vatican City.
I can see him writing the email now.
Let's get frocked up.
Robertus. But so there's this
Ecclesiastical joke for the priest?
in the In the Catholic Church, there's this problem because at some point Jesus was separated from part of his body near and around birth, which was circumcision, and I'm pretty sure they said that this is his foreskin.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
There is a debate. There is a debate between people who think that Jesus' foreskin was, there was a debate at least, whether Jesus' foreskin was still on earth where it was buried after Jesus was circumcised.
Academic debate.
Or whether at the moment of ascension, whether it also ascended to heaven.
Yeah.
And the Vatican librarian and scholar Leo Latius, or Latius, I'm not sure, is said to have written an essay entitled De Preputio Domini Nostri Jesu Christi Diatraba, Discourse on the Foreskin of Our Lord Jesus Christ, in which he asserted that the Holy Prepuce, which was a hotly contested relic of the Catholic Church that, interestingly, was said to have been held by more than one church at a time, claimed to be the more than one church at a time claimed to be in possession of, had in fact ascended at the same time of Jesus' circumcised body to then become the rings of Saturn, which according to M, who has mentioned this on our show before, would mean that Jesus' penis was roughly 170,000 miles wide. That's that big dick Messiah energy. A lot of men think they're the Messiah, you know. But
I am the Son of God.
Also, I just want to say that the Holy Prepuce that the Catholic Church recognized as, a relic that was still on Earth was looted and then recovered during the, quote, sack of Rome, which was an event and not a separate relic. Question 7. Which one of the following cosmonauts participated in a mission to service the Hubble Space Telescope? Was it Valentina Tereshkova, Tokhtar Albakirov, Yuri Gagarin, Svetlana Savitskaya, or none of the above?
Gotcha.
You bastard. That's the one I thought it was.
It really was. And then Rob knows you so well.
Like, I literally heard them say that. I think it's that Nonov guy.
Yeah,
And I was like, wait a minute.
Always read them out loud. I'm a son of a bitch. No Russian cosmonauts participated in the Hubble repair missions, although astronauts from France, Switzerland, and the U.S. did fly on the Hubble repair missions. That was just a mean trick, and I am sorry.
So I was right. It was none of the above.
Yeah.
Hey!
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Question 8, we gotta finish up here. In Albanian, it's Godfather's Straw. In Irish, it's the Fair Cow's Path. What is it called in English?
If this is not the Milky Way, I will unsign my book contract.
In Ireland, the fair cow's path is sobriety.
Rob
Am I right?
Before we get letters, Rob was born in Ireland.
The Pope puts his pen down.
Go Margaret, Rob. Yeah. All right. That is, in fact, the Milky Way.
Yeah.
So many languages have used many names for the Milky Way. I tried to use the ones that didn't give it away right away. There are a lot of them that have way included in the term, even if it's not the Milky Way. A lot of them just use like the Latinized or whatever it ends up being of the Milky Way. And there's, of course, as I've said, many languages use a variety of terms, so this isn't like supposed to be the only one used. But some other examples that I liked were in Chinese, the Silver River, Hawaiian. This had a bunch of examples, and I'm afraid that I wasn't able to check each and every one, but I did like the way it sounded of fish jumping in shadows was cool. And then in Medomari, which is a language in Russia, Way of the Gray Goose, and Slovene, the Roman Road, because as pilgrims were said to follow the path of the Milky Way to Rome. So, just interesting. No joke there, just fun.
Nice
fun to learn.
fact.
Yeah. So tonight we have a tie for first place between the Astronomers and Sonny and Cher.
Oh, Sonny and Cher.
And then we also, at Fact Machine, we always give out an award to the team that learned the most. So tonight, in last place, please join me in congratulating Team Third Place. If you raise your hand, we have a prize for both the winning team, the two winning teams, and the team that learned the most that we'll bring to you. Last thought I want to leave you with tonight. Astronomy helps us to look up into the night sky and imagine what our lives could be like on extraordinary, fantastical new worlds. But for our part, we wouldn't choose to be anywhere else than right here with all of you. So thank you very much for coming tonight, and see you next month.
And give it up for Noah!